Hello to all you Patriots out there in podcast land, and welcome to episode 207 of Canadian Patriot Podcast, the number one live podcast in Canada. We're recording on December 23rd, 2019.
My name is Ian. I'm a hobby farmer and sports shooter on Vancouver Island.
I'm Gavin, business owner, gun owner, volunteer first responder, and CCFR field officer for the GTA.
As always, my name is Andrew. I'm a recovering libertarian, a competitive shooter, and a firearms instructor at Ragnarok Tactical. We'd love to hear your feedback about the show. Please visit CanadianPatriotPodcast.com/feedback or email us directly, feedback@CanadianPatriotPodcast.com. You can find the show on the internet.
Yeah, and some of those places that you can find us on the internet are Facebook.com/CanadianPatriotPodcast and Instagram.com/CanadianPatriotPodcast.
We need your help. To support the show, visit patreon.com/CPP and become a Patreon. You can get a better quality version of the show for just $1 per episode. The more you pledge, the better the rewards are. Show you're not a communist, buy a CPP t-shirt for just $19.99 plus shipping and theft. Visit CanadianPatriotPodcast.com homepage and follow the link on the right.
I think that's our most flawless intro we've ever done.
I was just thinking the same thing, actually.
Put your hand up if you're still sober.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, for all of about 5 more minutes.
I've only had one beer this evening.
I've had a couple of glasses of wine earlier in the day, but
I need to do more show prep. All right, let's move on to show prep. And by that, I mean, what are we drinking? We're going to start with Gavin. Gavin, what are you getting blasted on?
I am drinking Jack Daniels and Coke Zero this evening.
Classy. Ian, what are you drinking?
I'm so sad. I'm on daddy Uber duty tonight, so unfortunately it's tea, cold and black, just like my heart.
Well, hey, daddy Uber duty could be worse. You can't choose your father, but you can choose your Uber daddy.
Is that like a German sugar daddy?
It's the best daddy of them all, I guess. It's the Uber daddy.
Uber daddy. I am drinking Flying Monkeys Milkshake IPA. Flying Monkeys is in Barrie, Ontario, and is probably the only thing worthwhile about that shithole city.
I agree.
I have to ask, though, does your milkshake bring all the boys to the yard?
Damn right, it's beer.
His milkshake is better than yours.
Well, there you go. But yeah,
this beer is like 6.8%. I'm going to be quite happy in a few moments.
Oh, there you go. The show will degrade slightly momentarily.
It's almost like triple strength compared to American beer, isn't it?
Yeah, especially that Utah
D-gents
shit.
on the comments. Let's address the D-gents on the comments. Smoking weed is healthier than drinking. Yeah, maybe. You're smoking a plant. I'm turning mine into alcohol. Potato. Either way, I'm getting vodka.
Yeah. And like that kind of depends. Like, I mean, if you're going to just sit on your ass all day and smoke dope and eat potato chips, probably not the healthiest life choice.
Well, and I think there's a higher chance of the weed getting laced with fentanyl than there is the bottled booze.
Yeah, and I get that.
Unless maybe you're in Barrie.
Unless you're in Barrie.
I get that I'm making my liver do some work drinking my beer, but my liver's got to do stuff anyway, so it's not like it's going out of its way to have to do a little bit extra.
Yeah, I mean, if anything, you're exercising your liver.
I've read a number of studies about how marijuana impacts adolescent brain development. I don't know what it does to adults. Conceivably nothing, but I don't know. I'm not taking that chance.
Neither is particularly healthy for you if you really want to get, autistic about it.
Well, and I mean, like, really, if you're going to be autistic about it, like, drink water, eat clean, hit your macros, exercise every day, die anyhow.
Yeah, fuck that noise.
Have some fun. I'm happy the D-gents on the YouTube feedback are smoking their devil's lettuce, and I'm going to stick to my milkshake IPA.
Yeah.
I look forward to the day that my daughter gets her own driver's license.
Me too.
Oh, yeah.
Like I said, you can choose your Uber daddy. All right, let's do the not news. We have, for the third week in a row, the gun show. Talking about gun bans again, because that's what we're talking about. Because the government's about to do something stupid. So when the government does something stupid, we do a podcast.
We're never going to stop doing a podcast.
It's like job security.
Yeah. If only we were getting paid.
Yeah.
We need your help. Support the show.
P.S. I cashed in the Patreon bucks the other day. Podcast hosting is paid for again for 2020. So thanks everybody.
Nice.
I'm not super happy about the fees that were incurred because everybody wants a cut, but thank you to our generous Patreons for giving us $1 fecking dollar.
Yep.
It's
what we appreciate about you.
Show's paid for another year. I mean,
it's a Yule miracle.
Time and Christmas, or time and Christmas. Time and equipment, not so much. But hey, at least we're not paying for hosting.
Yep.
What would use a booze sponsor?
Oh fuck yeah!
Yeah, I will drink basically whatever swill is cheap and free. Free.
Yeah.
And cheap. I mean, like.
Yeah, send us alcohol. We'll drink that too.
Yeah, get in touch with the show. If you work for a thing that makes alcohol, get in touch with the show. If you know somebody who makes alcohol, get in touch with the show.
Yeah, if you just want to buy us a drink, get in touch with the show.
Send us gift cards. Feedback at CanadianPatriotPodcast.com.
Yeah. Does the LCBO have like a wish list?
I don't know.
We need to find out.
All of it. My wish list is all of it.
It's just a sample pack, one of everything.
Yeah.
I'm super easy to buy for. You know where the liquor store is.
Yeah.
All right. Seriously, though. News. Let's do the thing. We're here to talk about gun bans because we, like the Liberal government, are assholes. We're going to start in British Columbia.
Fuck that province.
Most beautiful, picturesque province. What did you tell me the other day, Ian? You can't eat the scenery?
I can't eat the scenery, man. It doesn't, just because it's pretty to look at doesn't mean it's productive.
Not with that fucking attitude, you can't.
Yeah, well.
So much for being a prepper.
No, unfortunately, the economy is in the toilet no matter how pretty the mountains get.
Well, when the mountains get pretty, you know the beer is cold. I feel like that's not quite the right advertising, but
no, it's when they show up on the can. Yeah, it's when they're
just cold. Send me free beer.
Yeah.
BC government targets province-wide prohibition of precision-guided firearms for hunting. And I thought it was a joke, and then I started to read the article, and it seemed vaguely familiar. Like, January 2016, Las Vegas, Nevada, the Shooting Hunting Outdoor Trade Show. And then I realized where I'd read all of this copy before. I can't believe Tracking Point USA is still in business. This is one specific company that came out with vaporware like 4 years ago that I don't think they've actually delivered a real working rifle to a consumer grade end user. They've put a bunch of stuff out on the internet. They put a bunch of stuff out for T&E, but I don't think they've actually like started mass production of these guns that were announced in, I think it was 2016.
Yeah, quite a while ago.
So I looked to see if there was any other companies using the terminology or manufacturing precision-guided firearms. There's not. I can't find any. It was just Tracking Point.
The internet exploded with people that can't read, though, with this article.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they're talking high-powered sniper rifles being banned and all sorts of other stuff. I was like, no, if you actually read it.
Yeah. I mean, it's dumb. But
so I mean, you guys read it. What is it that we're actually banning from hunting in BC?
Something
aside from a product that doesn't actually exist.
Yeah, they're just trying to make sure that the animals have a fighting chance, quote unquote. I mean,
that's why I always bare knuckle box the moose that I'm going to eat.
That's right. Or that a buddy that takes down a cougar with a penknife or something like that. You know, you gotta. Or what the guy do with the bear? Didn't he spear it in Alberta a couple of years ago, and everybody got all pissed off?
Yeah.
Oh, that.
And then there's the other guy.
Yes.
Yeah. Then the other guy strangled that cougar.
The four-legged one.
Yeah. She didn't use her safe word. She was into. Oh no, wait, four-legged.
Yeah, no, different cougar. Yeah, no, different cougar. Yeah. Yeah, I guess I get it. I mean, you kind of want to make hunting not just like shooting fish in a barrel to keep it sporting. Also, though, you also want to have an ethical kill and be successful at it. So who fucking cares if you're going hunting? I'd rather someone have the best equipment and clean kill and all of that than
Well,
make
I'd
a
rather
bad shot.
track it 2 miles into the bush, lose it, and then have the meat go to waste.
Yeah.
And I think that's
I
the
mean-
majority of the concern for the advisory team that's working with the province on this, is that they don't want people having equipment that's going to tell them that they can make a shot that they can't actually make.
Yeah, but that's
I get that, but this seems
that's a problem with people right now with what they have.
yeah, that doesn't address the user
Yeah.
issue, is that people are still going to do dumb things.
Yeah, I mean, let's be honest.
But-
when you go to the gun club, who are the people that typically are the ones that have issues? Aside
The
from
ones who
cops
draw?
shooting themselves in the leg
Oh.
when they draw,
Wow.
it's like
I-
the guys that just go hunting and like sight their deer rifle in, like once a year and don't know how to act at a range and any actual safety stuff because they're just always hunting.
Fair. I kind of see this as a non-issue. This is a very expensive piece of vaporware that doesn't really exist for the average hunter or anyone else
Yeah.
that would like to buy one of these things, since they've been around for like 4 years and they haven't delivered.
Yeah, I've also heard some people saying that it relates also to like if you have one of those scopes that has the built-in ballistic calculator. Now, I mean,
I guess, but how is it any different to have a built-in ballistic calculator in it than carrying a kestrel around with you and having an optic on your rifle?
yeah, it doesn't. But
Right? Like,
yeah, there's some higher end
I think-
scopes that'll do that calculation for you. But
the
again,
important
like
thing to take away here is don't be a dumbass when you're hunting, especially if you're in BC. I think that's the takeaway.
yeah,
All right. Speaking
But
of being
but
a dumbass in
drones
BC,
drones are okay though because
Yeah,
they're part
as
of our
long as-
traditional hunting. Yeah,
as long as you're hunting traditionally.
yeah.
Okay, not hunting traditionally. We're going to Delta, British Columbia. BC police respond to gunfight at 2 a.m. that turns out to be grown men with Nerf guns. This is in KamloopsBCNow.com, which seems like a totally reliable and legitimate news source.
As legitimate as any other these days.
I don't know, man. It's not on BuzzFeed, and I'm not going to believe what happens next. But
It's not a Vice article.
so
Yeah, there's
somebody
so
in
far-
Delta called the police on a gun battle, and from the Delta police Twitter feed, caller 2:07 a.m. and they're arguing. They're threatening to shoot each other. Police arrive on the scene of a gun battle, a Nerf gun battle. One man received a minor welt. 4 combatants were utterly unaware of the time and noise levels. Hashtag Delta, where big calls get small.
Yeah, was nobody aware of the?
These guys were probably stoned out of their mind.
Yeah, and did nobody notice the extreme lack of pew pew sounds going on? Or they were just like they were convinced they were that silenced or something.
Well, yeah.
So, I mean,
You know-
I don't know what the details are here, but I feel like there was a couple of drunk college kids playing with Nerf guns in the middle of the street in the middle of the night. Like, this seems like a non-issue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That and like they're bright fucking orange. Like, not that you can't paint like an actual machine gun bright orange, but like they're
Nobody
bright
wants
fucking
that.
orange and they're not making any noise. Probably not a real gun. Like, that's not the kind of thing you normally want to assume because it's always better to assume the worst. Except in this case when it's a bright fucking orange thing with a foam piece that makes no noise. People are dumb.
People are dumb. People in BC, particularly so.
Hey, no,
Hey.
it's just a minority. I mean, come on now. Everybody's got the 5%. Every province has the 5% rule. You guys seem to make the news more often than us when it comes to this stuff. So
That's right.
Yeah, that's fair.
Only for so much longer, right?
that's right.
Well, let's move our way across the country. We're going to work our way from west towards the center of the universe with a stop off in Winnipeg.
Which is the
It's on
geographical
CBC.
center of Canada from a longitude perspective.
And
It's
the
kind of-
coldest place ever.
Yeah.
Winnipeg Police hunting for maker of homemade guns.
Well,
And I'm not an expert the same way that the inspector for the Winnipeg Police Service is, but I'm going to go ahead and say this this exact model of homemade gun that's turned up many times, and they fail to give any statistics about how many times, is not what's, quote, causing a surge in violent crime that we've seen in 2019.
You know why they'll never find this guy, right? Because who would admit to making something so fucking ugly?
Yeah, at least that guy that was making those Tech 9s, they actually look better than real Tech 9s.
Yeah, the guy that made the freaking Mac 10s in Alberta, at least he had a little bit of pride of workmanship there. What the was he on crack? It looked like Homer Simpson's drawing of a brand new, concept car or something. It's ridiculously bad.
Or Elon Musk's actual version of a car.
Exactly.
I'm going to read the quote from the article where this is not quoting the police. They're paraphrasing somebody that's given them a statement. The model police are seeing lately is obviously made by a skilled machinist, noting the person is cutting high-grade metal, boring out the barrels, and embedding springs so the firing mechanism works like a real gun.
Maybe he's a machinist.
Fuck.
Maybe he's a machinist. He's on Mac.
So let me paint a word salad picture for our audio listeners, because this is a podcast and you typically consume that through your ear holes. They have a chunk of metal with a wood handle and a trigger, and a bunch of bolts that use Allen keys. It's maybe 6 inches long, but maybe 3 inches of that is barrel. Most of it is like receiver. And then it's stylistically, it's kind of like a broom handle Mauser, in that it uses a broom handle that's almost vertical.
If possible,
an actual broom handle, though.
Yeah, if it's possible, it's actually more square than a Glock.
It is god awful ugly.
Also, though, I mean, they say that it works like a real gun, but if it actually fires, is that not a real
bullets,
gun? Yeah,
it is a real gun.
I mean, albeit an ugly as all fucking hell one, but
yeah, I mean, like, I've seen Caltex that look nicer than this. I've seen High Points that look nicer than this.
Yeah, well, I mean, you can get that $100.
Actually, you know what? Dimensionally, it is not dissimilar to a High Point. It is sort of that the big blocky dimensions of a High Point is sort of what this is. If High Points were made like as Ishpur Pass copies of themselves. Like, imagine the worst copy of a High Point you've ever seen.
Maybe this skilled machinist was worried about recoil mitigation or something. I mean, he just wants some extra math there.
Yeah, he obviously studied in Turkey somewhere.
Yeah, this is like the worst Khyber Pass copy gun ever to... I don't know, like, there's a bunch of crazy places in part of the world, in India and in Afghanistan, that they make, like, knockoff guns that look more like real guns than this gun.
Yeah.
But talk about top-notch police work. He wasn't sure of the caliber bullet it would fire, but it would certainly be larger than a 22 and potentially be a 9mm. In other words, you have any, like...
It's something somewhere in between those two things.
You're not even sure if it'll actually fit, like, chamber around. Like, so far, they... Oh, man, like, the police work here is astounding.
Like I said, this guy is clearly an expert.
Yeah. Like, give it to me. I'll figure out what it shoots.
So,
would you really want to have that in your hand when you shot?
Oh no, I'm gonna use a piece of string and I'll be behind something while I pull it.
Yeah, we're good. Mythbusters, Lexan, like a Lexan telephone booth with this inside and a big pull cord.
Yeah, it's not gonna be like, the stapler gun with like the oil can on the front of it pistol that's been going around, but like, 10 out of 10 would fire it from 10 feet away.
Yeah, I would think I'd be feeling more comfortable putting a 12 gauge round in a 12 gauge flare gun than putting and that's guaranteed to blow your hand off. So
yeah, but this was a professional machinist, guys. Come on.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, you can tell because of all the high end machining. God, this thing's hideous.
Well, there's no tool marks if you don't actually grind anything off.
So he's a welder.
Oh, fuck.
So, this year, Winnipeg Police have seized nearly 30 homemade guns. Last year, 52, and the year prior to that, a mere 6. But they don't say how many of these guns that they obtained this year that they've recovered from crimes are of this particular style. But they seem to think that they can relate it all back to one person or group of people that must be selling these guns, because they're frequently found with drugs like methamphetamine.
Weird. I'm curious. Do you think they go and get like holsters made for these things? Because that would be hilarious.
No, this is something you stick in your waistband to show the other gangsters how gangster you is.
But it's not got Muddy Girl Camel.
No, different kind of gangster. This is Winnipeg, not Vancouver.
Just
It
contact
hasn't spread that far yet.
just contact the good folks at Zahal there. They'll make sure they get a nice little plastic one for you.
Yeah.
So that's fun. Remind me again how adding more gun laws and banning pistols is going to stop people from illegally making guns to sell to criminals.
You know what we should ban? Professional machinists.
Why? They're clearly not the problem in this case, just like licensed gun owners.
Yeah.
God, it's hideous, isn't it?
Yeah, it's terrible.
So, yeah. I don't know. Is Winnipeg on the list of cities that want to ban handguns? Because this seems like a thing that they should get behind, because maybe they'll stop having these shitty guns turning up.
I don't know. I don't think so. I mean, I would say that Winnipeg would probably be like fairly based, given that like they're so far north and it's cold as balls.
I feel like Winnipeg is up there for violent cities.
Yes. But I think it's a lot of just like drunken fist fighting.
I mean, that could be.
Could be, yeah.
Does it make the list of violent cities? Where's the McLean's list for the most violent cities in Canada? Is it on there?
Winnipeg's usually up there.
Yeah. I mean, there's some other places in Saskatchewan that are a lot worse. But
Chances are they have Bridgeport, Fort, or Lake in the name, but
yeah.
Well, let's go to a place that isn't that. We're going to Toronto. Yeah, I told you we get to the center universe. Give it a minute. This is in the Toronto Sun. Ridiculous violent act. Man chosen at random by killers hunting target. If we can get past that title for a moment, because it's very poorly written. Kevin Connor, I am disappointed in your prose. Toronto's 67th homicide this year has been deemed as an opportunistic murder. Two someones actually, because it was two people wearing masks that were out hunting for a kill. And apparently this was the first person they came across was some 22-year-old student from the Ontario College of Art and Design that they shot a double-digit number of times. Again, the police work and investigative journalism in this day and age, I just can't get past. How many times? I don't know. A lot. More than 10.
Yeah, so
somewhere between 10 and 100.
Yeah. Exactly, I don't know, but somewhere in that.
You can't tell if you're listening to the show, but the look of disgust that I have for journalists, it's a look. So the two individuals who were described as wearing masks, no other identifying features are mentioned in the police report. But a picture was released that shows some things that you might surmise about the suspects, other than the color of their mask, which was pink, by the way.
Yes.
just because you're murdering somebody doesn't mean you can't be stylish.
Yeah. But you know what would have stopped this? More gun laws.
Well, this definitely.
Oh wait,
they should make a law where you can't go around murdering people in Toronto. That would probably help.
Yeah.
No, they've already got that one. Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
they should make a law where it's illegal to shoot people in Toronto.
Yeah.
No, wait, we've also got that as a law. They should make it illegal to illegally carry handguns without a permit in Toronto.
Especially ones that are ugly as fucking came from Winnipeg.
If only there was some way that they could stop these people from doing this.
Yeah.
Like banning handguns. That would probably help.
Yeah, I mean, we're, making light of a horrible situation here because this is literally a dude, as far as we know, that was just like walking down the street.
Guy
and
seems to have been randomly murdered by passersby.
Yeah, which is this
awful and
scariest part
of his family. But
because there's no rhyme or reason.
Nothing that the Toronto Police or Toronto City Council is planning to do is going to prevent this from happening again. Because we can't even talk about the ethnicity of the people in the photos that the Toronto Police Service released, other than to say that they were wearing pink masks.
Yeah. which does not match their pigmentation. In case anyone was wondering.
You have to be careful. You're skirting awfully close to that white nationalist line there. You want to report the ethnicity of people committing murders in Toronto? That seems
How dare ye?
racist.
Yeah, I mean, only when it, fits their narrative. That's the problem. I mean, if we're going to report it for everybody. If we're not going to report it, don't report it for anybody. But it's kind of a thing when you're looking for somebody on the loose that just randomly murdered some guy for no fucking reason. Should maybe know as much about their appearance as we could possibly have so that, nobody else gets shot by them. But what do I know?
That would make sense. Hey,
I'm on board with this.
Back to the interning here. For the number one city for homicides per capita is Thompson, Manitoba. So, and then the top 10, they're all kind of in the Manitoba area. Winnipeg is way down the list, and surprisingly, Toronto is number 29.
I'm a little bit surprised by that, but I mean, it's a per capita thing, and you're probably not taking the entire GTA into account. So just because somebody got capped in Toronto doesn't mean they didn't live in Richmond Hill, right?
Yeah,
Vice versa.
Winnipeg came in number 33. So I mean, they have less of a use case for a handgun ban than Toronto even.
Wow, that's impressive.
Yep.
I know where a handgun ban will definitely not help.
Anywhere?
Well, yes, but also Woodstock, Ontario. Why Woodstock, Ontario? Because their police just got assault rifles.
Fuck yeah, they did. Oh wait, no, those are patrol cars.
Patrol car runs.
Yeah, it's totally different.
This is on, again, an entirely legitimate and reliable news source, heartfm.ca. 1047 Heart FM. Apparently they play the world's best music. I'm very afraid to click on it to listen to what that could possibly entail.
Yeah, don't. It's a trap.
Yeah, I feel like it's the kind of thing that the disgruntled youths in Toronto might listen to at the club.
Yeah. A lot of that emo music.
That too. So, Woodstock police are being armed with Colt C8 patrol carbines for use in high-risk situations. Apparently, the Woodstock police have acquired these from another defunct police service. I'm curious where they came from.
Yeah.
But I read elsewhere, not in this article, but I read elsewhere that they got them for a smoking good deal, under $800 a piece.
Whew. So whoever got that deal for them, you can reach out to the show at feedback at Canadian Patriot Podcast.
Yeah, I'd take a Colt C8. I would take even a Colt, the semi-auto SA-20 Colt C8 type. I guess it'd be the SA-16, whatever.
Yeah.
Plus some stupid number, 16.7 or whatever it is.
I'll take an IUR, an MMR, SA-20, whatever.
I mean, there's got to be some police listening to us at this point. So, I mean, sure, degrees of separation. They got
Hi, RCMP.
They got to know somebody that got all these C8s for them.
Yeah, that, and if you are part of the Woodstock Police Department and you'd like some training, Ragnarok Tactical will be happy to set that up for you.
Well, I would not want to infringe upon the strenuous 3 days of training, up to 10 hours a day, that they have already received for 8 of their officers to field these assault weapons. I mean, patrol carbines.
But we'll probably do a better job, so call us. We got you, bro.
So get in touch.
We got you, fam.
Sales at ragnaroktactical.ca. Send me an email. We'll get you a quote.
Yeah.
Hell, if we can teach the army to shoot better, we can probably teach the cops.
Yeah.
I do like the criteria for how they arrived at which of their officers would receive training and be allowed to have their issued patrol carbines in their work whips. The officers were selected based on a number of factors, including merit, attendance, and reliability. So I guess you got to show up to work in order to get a patrol carbine.
And you got to show up to work. Yeah, show up to work reliably.
Yeah, try not to be on the take. Just keep it on.
Why do we have to worry about that with police officers? Why are we concerned about giving them patrol carbines and also their attendance and reliability? Shouldn't they already be reliable? I mean,
in theory.
Are you trying to tell me that there's corrupt police officers out there? Police officers that are maybe not as well suited to their job as others?
No, 5% rule.
People that were maybe hired for political reasons instead of because they were good at the job. That's not what they're saying, right?
No. Wouldn't happen in Canada.
Okay.
No. Certainly not in Ontario.
I do appreciate the spokesperson for the Woodstock Police taking the time to point out why they needed the C8 rifles and the circumstances under which they plan to use them. The rifles are easier to load, lighter to carry, and more accurate at longer distances. With better accuracy, these weapons are a safer alternative in situations involving active shooters and barricaded suspects.
Also makes a good case for...
I'm no expert, but safer for what?
Sounds like a good use case for a varmint rifle, actually.
It does seem almost like this is an appropriate tool for certain jobs. Like jobs where you might have to shoot something that's not right in front of you. It's a little ways away. Or you need to carry a significant amount of ammunition using your standard capacity magazines. Damnedest thing.
Maybe somebody's locked himself in his house, doesn't want to give up certain items.
Yeah.
Don't red flag me, bro.
At least not without warning.
I just did someone. Wasn't talking about in particular.
Well, I mean, good for the Woodstock Police for arming their officers with the correct tool to do the job. Also, fingers crossed they don't have to use this on anybody.
But if they do, they should call us for training. Prior to that,
yeah, I would be happy to assist them in their training of how to properly employ a semi-automatic, modern style rifle.
Yeah. Maybe outfit them with some tacos to keep their magazines in.
Yeah, you got to keep up with another regional police service in that area that we've outfitted with tacos.
Yeah, tomorrow will be Taco Tuesday.
It's true.
Yeah,
I guess. For our dozens of listeners that are listening live, tomorrow is Taco Tuesday at RagnarokTactical.ca. By the time that the rest of the audience is listening to this, tomorrow is Taco Tuesday when this comes out.
Yeah.
We're running a sale. It's Yule.
Oh, you guys are so difficult on my wallet.
But you can
We're
use
really not. We take credit, EMT, debit.
Yeah. But you get
Bitcoin.
to use the code Taco Tuesday to get a discount on tacos on Taco Tuesday.
True.
How much more difficult could we be, Ian?
Sorry. I guess I'll have to check it out then.
Yeah. In-stock HSGI products for significant savings. Use the discount code Taco Tuesday, all one word. Don't worry, there's 2 Tuesdays in Yule. If you can't afford it this week, you can afford it next week. It's cool, I checked.
Yeah.
Other things that we've checked. I have good news. An article that we talked about a year ago is about to be burned, crucified, even immolated, maybe.
Ooh, do tell.
Well, yeah, Gavin gets all. You say immolated, and Gavin gets all excited. You would think he's never spent time in a burn ward.
Yeah, well, what can I say? I like reliving the trauma.
This is on News Talk 1010. 82% of handguns in Toronto come from the U.S. This is according to Mark Saunders, the chief of police for the Toronto Police Service.
Whoa. Isn't that the same Toronto Police Service that Blair used to work for and be in charge of? And
do you remember last year there was an anonymous source from the Toronto Police Service that was quoted in every major news outlet as saying that 50% of all firearms used or all firearms recovered in crimes in Toronto were linked to domestic sources? Yeah, they weren't. That guy lied.
I believe that's the same Toronto Police Service that finally admitted via access to information that they don't actually keep records on such things.
Yeah.
They don't. Well, they didn't. They do now. They've been required to.
Yeah, probably
Because they got
in
access to
trouble.
information.
Yeah, yeah. It's almost like Blair
So it
was
turns
just
out when you're
flat out
enforcing the
lying.
law, you're supposed to keep records of the laws that you're enforcing.
Weird.
I know. It's almost like we don't live in a totalitarian police state. Almost.
Yeah. Hooray for being one step closer to a real country now that we keep proper records.
Yay. Yeah, so this is good news. So last summer we talked about this, and half of all guns recovered in crimes in Toronto were being domestically sourced. And we talked about the wishy-washy language of domestically sourced. So like if the serial number had been altered or if the gun couldn't be traced, the government assumed that it had been domestically sourced.
Yeah.
And then there was a person from Toronto Police Service that refused to be named or speak publicly that was talking out of their ass about this.
Yeah.
And that's where their half of all crime guns were domestically sourced thing in Toronto came from. Yeah.
Wouldn't be surprised if this anonymous source actually just ended up being Blair just either making shit up or being that anonymous source.
I mean, could be. I don't know. You know me, I don't trust mainstream journalism. We read this to see what the lies are that they're trying to tell us today.
Yeah.
I would like to read a quote. I will try not to butcher it, but it's very hard for me to do a Mark Saunders impression, but I will try. Guns are coming through a ton of different means, and we're learning different things that are occurring. And is that one methodology? I am sure that it is, but I can tell you there are hundreds of other ways they're getting in. I'm pretty sure the first thing wasn't actually a sentence or a question, but it had a question mark.
So,
and I tried to emote that for our listeners.
Do you think the final draft of this article, if we can
He's on
use that
Snoop Dogg's desk because this dude is high as a fucking
Well, I was going to say,
kite,
do
yo.
you think it was written in crayon?
I mean,
His job
Or at
is
least,
maybe
or at least part of it was because he ate the crayons and had to finish it with something else.
or he's reach whatever's on the teleprompter. Like, I'm Ron Burgundy.
Yeah.
I don't even. Guns are coming through a number of different means.
You know, it
Is
could
that
be
one methodology. Yes, a mean and a methodology are the same thing, Mark, but thanks for coming out.
Yeah, I don't think he's really...
I'm sure it's a
Yeah.
public speaking thing. I'm sure it's just like being taken out of context or they've quoted him wrong or something, because there's no way that somebody would actually say something
I
like
don't know. Like,
pants on head retarded like this.
yeah. I mean, yes, but also...
I know.
Yeah, who fucking knows? Ugh.
Yeah, this is... I don't know what the deal is with it, but like, yes, different means of acquiring illegal firearms are in fact also called different methodologies. That is...
Yeah, but we've determined that the vast majority of them are not domestic, at least.
82% of the ones they recovered this year. Well, or since they started keeping records anyway.
So like 3 days ago. Oh shit, look who it is.
Hey,
Happy Hanukkah, Benny.
thank you, thank you. Happy holidays to you guys.
Oh God,
Thank you.
is your microphone even on? What are you doing?
Is that better?
No. All right, we're gonna let Benny play with his audio while we go on to the next article. This is on. Oh, and
He's
Benny
playing with his
rage
audio.
quit. Okay.
He pulled a furlot. It's okay.
it's a hang-up game. Everybody can play.
Yeah.
Yes, but not everyone can win. Can they, Trevor? All right, National Post article. This is a Matt Gurney piece. This isn't about gun control. Be honest, it's disdain for guns and gun owners. Well, I'm glad somebody in the national media is finally actually just calling it like it is.
Yeah. It's refreshing almost.
Well, I mean, yes, no, it's Matt Gurney. We know he's on the side of gun owners, or at least he panders to them. It's also in the National Post, so I mean, like, it's targeted towards conservatives. But
That's a dirty word. I don't think you're allowed to use that anymore.
I'll call them what they are.
Well, I don't think it's any secret that I think the only people that Trudeau hates more than Albertans is gun owners or Albertan gun owners.
Yeah.
Ooh, double whammy.
Yeah. Or Benny's audio. Have you fixed
Everyone
it?
hates my audio.
Hey!
Yeah.
Everyone
it's like
hates
you're
my
using
audio.
a microphone now.
Yeah, from the early 2000s.
Yeah, but it's better than the potato you were using a minute ago.
Yep.
So, we were talking about the Matt Gurney piece. So, the mainstream media is willing to finally publish an article with the truth in it, shocking as that might be, that this isn't about gun control. It's just the government trying to fuck over gun owners. I mean, I'm using a lot more vulgar language than the article does, but
It's Cole's
outcome's the
notes.
same.
Yeah.
Can't add anything. It's kind of par for the course for the past 10, 15, 20 years.
I'm going to go with longer than that. Charter came into effect in 65 or 67. I can never remember. We always have to look this up.
Yeah. Something like that. I don't know. Whenever the other Trudeau was in, wasn't it?
Yes, it was the other Trudeau the senior, and I can point to
Yeah.
the exact point in our history where things started to go downhill, and it was either 65 or 67, and someday I'll remember which one.
I don't know. What day did he get elected?
Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms of 1982 is part of the Canadian Constitution. The Charter protects every Canadian's right to treat equally under the law.
Okay, then it's not the Charter, it's something else that precedes the Charter. There's a particular date where they passed a bunch of laws that started to enable this stuff, and it was either 65 or 67. The Americans are the other. We're 1 year and the Americans are the other. It's an odd year in the 60s, 65 or 67. The Americans, it was the Immigration and Naturalization Act of 1960. Somebody fill in the blank. I think it was 65, which is, I think, what makes ours 67. But point being, it was more than 20 years. It's a long, slow march through the institutions, to quote a well-known communist.
It is 1867. The Constitution of Canada includes the Constitution Act of 1867, the Constitution Act of 1982.
No, that's also not. I will go and I will look up the specific piece of legislation for next week if I remember. Because ours is 2 years different than the Americans, because theirs was the Immigration and Naturalization Act that changed the way that their country runs. Ours is something similar.
I never claimed to have great Google foo, so
that's fair.
That's why you're not the intern.
Yes.
We need a better intern. If you want to be an intern, feedback at CanadianPatriotPodcast.com.
Yeah.
We have Patreon dollars, and none of them are for you.
Well, maybe one feckin' dollar. Like for the year.
Maybe one. Yeah.
We're on a tight budget. Thanks, Trudeau.
It was interesting,
I'm
actually.
just saying, like, other media companies get $600 million. What do I get? Nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah, interesting. I got a couple Google Foo results here. There's a 1960 Canadian Bill of Rights that was superseded by the 82 Charter of Rights. But there's also another one that they mentioned here as well, that the Canadian Human Rights Act in 77.
No,
Nope.
that's still not the act that I'm thinking of, but I will go and make an effort to find it later.
All right.
I'm sure it's 2 years different than the Americans, and I'm reasonably confident that ours was 67. But in any event, they've been working at this for quite a while.
What, ruining the country?
Yes. It takes time to ruin a country, damn it.
A note from the Albertan there. He's an oil-working Anglophone Alberta gun owner. The anti-liberal trifecta. Yeah, I'm with you on
they
that
call
one.
the Devil's Triangle.
Yeah.
Not to be confused with the devil's lettuce.
Yeah. Well, I'm an Anglophone, born and raised in Alberta gun owner. That's pretty much the same. So,
It's all French to me.
yeah.
Well, then I believe you guys also have a fondness for rum.
Could be. There's nothing wrong with that. It's a healthy choice.
Yeah.
It works for pirates.
Devil's Lettuce.
Yeah.
Talked
Yeah.
about this earlier.
Just hopefully we don't go the way of Venezuela. You know, a strong rum producing nation.
Yeah, that rum's really gotten expensive lately.
But thanks to Trudeau Sr. and Jr., we seem to be marching steadily towards that.
He's trying his darndest.
Yeah, I don't even have any good quotes in this article or anything. I was just surprised that they printed a piece that it's like, yeah, the liberals just want to take away our guns because they don't like our guns, and not because of any good reason, not because they're gonna fix public safety, not because it's gonna save lives, just because there are people in the Laurentian elite and people who vote for the Laurentian elite that don't like that we own firearms.
It's weird, especially in this day and age, when an article comes out that's actually telling it how it is.
Yeah, I didn't get left on the editor's cutting room floor.
Yeah, because I mean, even the right-leaning media, typically, if you know, they won't print anything that's pro whatever. They just won't print anything that's con. You know.
Yeah. I've got nothing else to add with that. Let's go on with global news. Trudeau says he won't let provincial resistance scuttle municipal handgun bans.
Before we continue, is the guy sitting behind him wearing a CCFR pin?
The guy sitting behind no, definitely not. That's Mark Holland.
Okay, because from the distance, I just saw the pin and I'm like, that looks like the new logo.
Yeah,
no, I'm not.
Go
sure
back to whatever
April...
episode that was when I talked about the story of the angry interaction I had with Mark Holland in a bathroom in a pub in Oshawa. Sorry, Ajax.
I don't know what sort of maple leaf looking logo thing that is, but I'm reasonably confident that is Mark Holland and that is not a CCFR pin.
Just making sure.
Yeah.
So Trudeau has said that he's intends to allow cities to enact municipal handgun bans because Montreal, Ottawa, and Toronto want them, and that there's, I like this. They allude to that there's some option to allow municipalities to enforce this, even if the provinces won't let them, because they're going to delegate this from a federal authority to a provincial authority and then to a municipal authority. So the provinces have the ability to effectively stop this from being enacted by individual cities. But Trudeau doesn't go on to elaborate at all what that could be because they don't want to tell anyone what that could be. It sounds a lot like they don't actually have an answer. Like that's.
Well, I think I summed this up earlier when I had a discussion on the Facebooks. So it's federal government tries to interfere with the will of the people at the provincial level because they're trying to stop the federal government from interfering on the municipal level.
Yes.
So the federal government's doing a whole lot of interfering that they shouldn't have been doing. Like,
wasn't the biggest argument against this that it is a federal thing, a federal law? So how could
the Firearms Act is a federal law?
So
this is very true.
By basically what he's doing, or to cut all the loopholes and whatever, it's still going to be federal. Just the federal government's only going to enact a handgun ban in cities that actually vote, whose councillors vote for it.
So it won't be the federal government enacting it. It will be the local municipality saying that we don't want guns in our local municipality. Therefore, if you own them, you can't have them here.
But this has no teeth. We talked about this before.
Yeah.
There's nothing in the federal law that says anything about how this is going to be enforced. There's nothing that the cities can rely on in the Firearms Act to enforce this. Like at best, it's going to be a bylaw infraction. What are they going to do? They're going to fine you?
Well, if we already discussed that, it's just something that's going to piss off Canadian gun owners. I don't know about you, but I try not to get tickets. I try not to, be on the wrong side of the law. Like,
so you already did 90% of the hard work. You moved out of Toronto.
Yeah.
Yes.
But I mean, the thing is, though, so what are you going to cities that ban it? Are the municipal bylaw enforcement officers going to have access to the gun registry? No, probably not.
I don't know. Do bylaw officers have access to CPIC? Because if they have access to CPIC, they would, right?
Yeah, but there's a difference between seeing if you've had your background check done versus seeing if you have any restricteds registered in your name. Right?
Yes,
and are you-
but CPIC just tells you whether or not you're a gun owner. It doesn't tell you which guns are licensed to you, like which guns.
Yeah,
are
but that
registered
should
to
only
you.
be if you're going to the house on a call already. You can't just randomly look
No.
up people's addresses to decide
you?
it.
I mean, I don't know enough about how CPIC works, and I'm not convinced
I mean-
that bylaw officers have access to
I don't think they
a
do.
criminal records system.
Yeah,
But,
I don't think
it stands to reason that they might.
Well,
they may, but the purpose of it is that like cops shouldn't be able to just go, oh, let's pull up random address and then decide if they have a gun license or not without reason to do so. So the reason to do so is that they've got a call where they have to attend at a house, because otherwise there's no reason for them to look up that 123 Main Street is a licensed gun owner or not.
If they ban guns in their city, they're now looking for illegal contraband.
But that's
and because it's a dangerous item, I could see.
But they would have to go every house, which is
No,
a huge drain on time and resource. Like,
Oh,
No,
you think
that-
they wouldn't do something that would drain time and resources? You're talking about a government bureaucracy.
they could see.
yeah, but a municipal
entire-
government bureaucracy, which is lazy as all fuck.
I feel like someone with an Excel sheet and Google can figure out how to do that without actually sitting in front of a computer and doing that. But
I thought with CPIC you needed a full name and birth date before you could actually do a CPIC check on them.
Again, I do not know enough about the system to know the details of how
Well.
it works, and I don't know exactly what agencies have access to it. But it seems to me that somebody is going to have to do a little bit of work to get this to happen. I don't think it's going to be a lot of work. It's going to be a little bit of work.
Well, yeah, I mean, the whole thing is shady as fuck.
Oh, super shady. And I mean, okay, so Andrew, on the degent feedback here, feds will create some sort of gun-free zones act, and the cities will apply to be such. Then the Queen's Cowboys will be tasked with enforcement. I could see that, but I mean, we got in trouble for a couple weeks ago when I didn't get the OPP's jurisdiction correct. So to say that the Queen's Cowboys are going to be enforcing laws in municipalities, I feel like that's a stretch. But hey, maybe the hate mailer that corrected me about the OPP's jurisdiction can email me about the RCMP's jurisdiction, because maybe it's different. I don't feel like the federal police are coming to my house to take my guns. I mean, not right now. Long term, maybe, but not right now.
Yeah, they've definitely been beefing up their hiring in the western provinces as of late.
And you're a long way from the nearest detachment where you are too.
Well, I mean, I'm not overly worried, but like the whole thing is just stupid. Like,
Oh, very stupid. And does nothing. But I mean, that's the whole, like, this is the same thing that the Matt Gurney article was talking about. This is all feel-good politics. This is virtue signaling of the highest order.
I'm all for like having municipal government be stronger than like provincial and federal government, because then we can just move to different municipalities and make better laws that we agree to. But this is a weird.
that only works
doing
if your municipality is running their own ship. If they're just following the
the
federal party line, then all you're doing is they're not actually giving them more power. They're trying to bypass the provincial parliaments that have all swinged out of their favor.
Yeah, which are supposed to have in certain things more power than the federal government, but now the federal government is trying to interfere with everybody's nonsense. So
I don't know if that's right. I mean, I know like you're talking
should
about
just
states'
fuck
laws
off.
and stuff, or states' rights, but I feel like we don't have states' rights in this country.
No, but I mean, the province is tasked with certain things, and the federal government is tasked with certain things. And now you've got the federal government fucking around on a municipal and provincial level with things that are not supposed to be of their concern. Their thing is to regulate firearms ownership. That's it. Not where these people live. Right? I mean, if a municipality wants to decide all on their own, then so be it. Everyone will just move out of there. But the federal government shouldn't be stepping in to help them one way or the other.
Yeah. I feel like this is an overreach, but I feel like everything with our gun laws is an overreach. Our gun laws are more than adequate if we could just enforce them.
Yeah.
If only there was some sort of government agency who was responsible for enforcing the laws and ensuring that justice was metered out to the people that were breaking those laws, taking care of all the ne'er-do-wells.
Yeah.
Are there any
And enforcing them amongst, government agents and employees that also break said laws fairly and evenly.
Are there any stats for people who have been charged with a firearms crime actually being taken to court?
I mean, probably. I don't know what they are or how we would find them.
Including like charges being dropped, because that's something you always hear of, where like, someone was found with a firearm, right? But then, charges were dropped. So that probably doesn't show up in the regular stats for crimes.
If a charge has been dropped, then it's been dropped, and it shouldn't be basically of record anymore. Because
no, but Benny's getting at how many gangbangers get caught with illegal guns but never get incarcerated because they're illegal gun? They remove that charge and get them with something else, or with anything at all.
But that's the thing, though. They only get basically the convictions are the only thing that really stick around in terms of paperwork. So unless you get convicted of the crime, the charges themselves, unless you've been convicted, kind of just disappear unless you happen to find the news article that the CBC wrote shittily about it. Right.
Right. I think that's a study that the government should run. Not that they ever would.
I mean, in a sane country, yes, but in our country, I feel like the government running that is not the right solution.
Yeah. The government running anything is probably a bad solution.
Well, that depends. Do you want the thing to be accomplished and done correctly, or do you just want them to spend money? Because
they're good at that, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of spending money, our boy Doug has some ideas on what Trudeau can do with his $600 million for gun buybacks.
Yeah.
Shove it where? No.
Kind of like that, yeah.
I'm sure that money has already been there on Trudeau, and now he's just removed it to spend it elsewhere.
So Brian Lilly and Antonello Artuso sat down with Premier Ford last week. And they did a whole big interview, but one of the things they talked about specifically was the proposed municipal handgun ban and how this relates to Toronto. And obviously, Doug has a soft spot for the city of Toronto. And he actually did pretty good in his response. I'm going to go ahead and give him a B or maybe a B+ grade on this. He actually had some well thought out, reasonable solutions for what to do about gun violence in Toronto. We can't have these gangbangers out on the streets, shooting up the streets and then laughing at us to get out on bail the next day or 2 days later. And then see repeat offenders do it again.
Yeah, he's absolutely right.
It's almost like he recognizes the problem is criminals and our broken justice system. I don't know that I necessarily agree with how he thinks we should spend the $600 million that Trudeau's putting towards gun buyback. So it's pointed out that Trudeau is promising $300 million for border security and guns and gangs, and then $600 million for the buyback, and this go towards other things like home ownership and education and healthcare and affordable other nonsense. I don't think we should be giving anybody these $600 million that we don't have to be giving away.
I was going to say, what about paying back the debt?
Well, what debt? Just print more fake money.
Yeah.
Are they actually even doing that? Is inflation?
We print more fake money every day.
Yeah.
So,
Lots of it.
I mean, yes, I would prefer that we were not. I would prefer that the government was not using the money that we are borrowing from my great-grandchildren to pay for a gun buyback, or for buying affordable housing for people in Toronto to purchase, or for increasing their teachers' salaries so that we can target disenfranchised inner-city youths before they make bad life choices. But all of those things are still better than buying my property back.
Yeah, they'll be more effective,
right,
at stopping the thing. So if we're going to spend the money,
yeah, if we're going to spend my great-grandchildren's money that we don't have yet, then I guess at least spend it on stuff that's going to make a measurable impact in crime. Not that I think that affordable housing is the thing that's going to solve the problem, because I think that criminals be criminals, yo.
Yeah.
But I guess if the argument is that criminals be criminals, yo, because they don't have affordable housing, well, then let's let Toronto address that. But let's let Toronto address that. I don't live in that shithole. I don't want to pay for their affordable housing.
Neither do I.
Yeah. I mean, we talked
That's
about
why
it.
you left.
Yeah, talked about it last week. I mean, you look at what they spent, like $4 million, and got one gun for every 100,000 people off the streets. That's pretty good. You know, we worked it out, so that was roughly like, you know, a third of the year or whatnot. So, like, if they spent like, you know, 15 million for the year, that would net, you know, 3 guns per 100,000 people in Toronto, which would be like incredible. And if a couple of other cities, major cities, did this, that have a gang problem, imagine how much they could reduce the stats right there for a hell of a lot less money.
Yeah. If only the government were efficient.
Yeah. It's
Well,
almost
shall
like
we,
we should be the government now.
No, we should definitely not be the government.
Come on, it would be fun for a little while.
I mean, I'm not saying it wouldn't be in. Oh, man. There's some helicopter squadrons around here, like 427, that I would definitely have some jobs for.
yeah.
But
I was wondering why there was a Chinook flying overhead the other day.
I mean,
No,
the
I'm not
fuel
the
starts to
government
pay
yet,
for
though.
itself at the, you know.
I'm like sitting in the middle of nowhere, Ontario, and I'm like, why is okay? Now I know why there's helicopters flying around.
If I were the government, the helicopters would not be flying over nowhere, Ontario. They'd be flying over Lake Ontario.
Yeah.
Okay, don't get any ideas from Montreal. Just because they throw their raw sewage in the lake doesn't mean you have to.
That's Lake Ontario. It's just another couple of bodies isn't going to make a difference, is it?
I think your estimations are kind of low.
Yeah, well, I'm willing to take that risk. If I was government, I would conduct a gender balance study to make sure that I was equally impacting communists, impacting them right into a lake.
Yeah, I mean, there would be, racial and gender and religious parity across the board for communists. Like, equal opportunity, so long as you're a communist, to take a one-way helicopter ride.
When in doubt, kick them out.
Yep.
Let's go to a different country in the New World Order. I mean, no, wait, that's wrong. In the Commonwealth. We don't usually do other countries, but I want to talk about New Zealand again, because I can't confirm this. And the echo chambers in which I find myself on the internet lead me to strongly believe this, but based on the observations I have, it seems to me like our government's plan to ban military-style assault weapons is being swindled directly out of the New Zealand military-style assault weapons playbook. So we're going to talk about New Zealand for a bit, because I fear that this is things to come.
Yeah, I'd say there's some definite potential parallels there.
Well, a lot of the language and the shiniest pony's sudden interest in the New Zealand PM, and also his distinct lack of wife in photo ops as of late.
Well, one would argue that he's not really attracted to strong, independent women. And since this lady caved to weak public demand, didn't seem like that much, she's right up his alley.
Yeah, that's... Yes. Stuff.co.nz. NZ?
NZ, I think.
One or the other. Government widens gun law. Firearms prohibition orders to ban guns and offenders from being around firearms. They're going to make a law in New Zealand where if you're a criminal, you can't be near guns, guys.
Yeah, well, remember they sat down with them about a month ago and said, "Hey, we noticed you haven't handed any guns yet. Would you please hand them in?" They're like, "No." Oh, okay. So this is the next step. They're like, "Okay, we're going to make sure that you know that you're really not supposed to have them."
Yeah. And then we're going to ask you again really, really nicely.
Yeah. Because that'll work this time for sure.
Yeah. Also, could we please meet with all of the gang leaders again? Please tell them that guns are bad.
This is like that video where that guy goes back in time and puts up more, guns are banned signs to try and save his friend who got shot.
Yeah.
I don't know the reference, but I mean, it seems reasonable.
Point
So,
is,
I guess-
saying guns are illegal isn't going to stop criminals from using guns and killing people.
No,
Sorry.
not at all. It is absolutely not. This does expand police powers in New Zealand. We already have something along the same lines as a firearms prohibition order, the way they're described in New Zealand. We actually call ours a firearms prohibition order.
Are
We
you
have
saying
this if
Are you saying until now they didn't have a firearms prohibition order? So criminals could be charged and then be allowed to purchase. That just doesn't compute.
Well, not
Sorry.
to be allowed to purchase necessarily, because I don't want to say that I understand the New Zealand firearms licensing scheme. I barely comprehend ours. I'm not even going as far as to say I barely understand ours. I barely comprehend ours because ours is intentionally incomprehensible. But we do have firearms prohibition orders in this country where you can't be in a residence or near a firearm or crossbow or ammunition or other certain named things. It's really fun. You should definitely have the police attend your domicile and have them read back all the conditions on a firearms prohibition over the radio for the neighbor who has access to a common area where you store your ammunition. It's fun. You should try it. Trust me. I used to live in a place where I found out my neighbor had a firearms prohibition order.
Was the onus on you or him?
Yes.
That sucks.
Well, the local constabulary was very kind. That small anecdote, I suppose. I was called home from work by my upstairs neighbor, who I found out that our landlord, we lived in like a multiplex. We had a shared space with the laundry room and stuff and a storage room. So I stored a lot of like outdoors and camping stuff in in our storage space, including a lot of ammunition. And our landlord found out about that and called the police because they were very concerned about a lot of ammunition, which on its own would actually have been no problem because it was locked and stored legally. And I was the only person that had access to the locker, but it was in a common space where somebody else could conceivably then access the locker, which I don't fully comprehend because it's inside of a locker. But hey, detail, not important. So I got called home from work. And it turns out that my neighbor's new live-in boyfriend had a firearms prohibition order. And the local constabulary was obligated to not leave until we rectified the situation in such a way that he was not able to access all of the ammunition.
Uh-huh.
So the local constabulary was very kind as to help me move all of the ammunition from the storage space through the door frame into my hallway.
That's nice.
Wherein we stacked it because his firearms prohibition order expired 30 days after they attended the scene.
Oh my gosh.
Because it was a 5-year prohibition that he is at 4 years and 11 months for. And if I didn't do something about it, one of us was going to go to jail. Either he for being in breach of his firearms prohibition order or me for breaching his firearms prohibition order.
That's so dumb.
So they
Do you
were
know what
worried
we
about
did?
it breaking into a locker, but not your front door.
You moved it into your hallway for 30 days and then moved it back.
Yeah, I moved it through a hollow core door with a little tumbler lock thingy, not a real lock, like a bathroom lock, like that keeps the kids out while you're taking a leak. Yeah. Good times. Good times. Neither here nor there, though. So we have firearms prohibition orders. But if you ever have the opportunity to have the police read you all of the conditions, it's a very, very long radio message. Because there's a lot of possible conditions in Canada for firearms prohibition orders.
So what, they can't even go into like a Bass Pro or something?
They can't be in a place with crossbows or ammunition or certain other types of ammunitions or throwing knives or...
Holy cow.
Like, it was a very long list. Like, it was very, very long because I was...
It sounds like they can't even go into Canadian Tire.
Pretty much.
In Toronto. Like, they don't even they barely have gun safes in those places, but they probably can't even walk in there because if they throw knives.
You'd be surprised though. I mean, even some of the more urban Canadian Tires still have like 308, 303, and 12 gauge and 22 tucked away somewhere. I mean, the one right around the corner from me has that. That's about all they have.
So, what's it called? Lawrence and Dufferin, they don't have that. Shepherd and Bayview doesn't have any ammunition. The closest they have is gun safes and knives. That's it.
But
They don't even have archery or crossbows, whatever.
Weird. You'd figure they would at least have like those shitty Canadian Tire bows that everyone gets their kids.
No. So growing up,
I guess Toronto is just that much
Yeah.
prettier these days.
Growing up and then going to these Canadian Tires and then someone saying, yeah, you can buy ammunition at Walmart in Canada. And I'm like, really? That's a thing? And yeah, same thing at Canadian Tire. Nope, not in the middle of Toronto.
I mean, I try not to because like they put your name and everything in the book.
Right.
And that book sits on top of the cabinet. Not in the cabinet with the ammos locked up, but on top of the cabinet.
Yeah.
And it's like a 15-year-old kid that's kind of handling that security measure.
Yeah. Not very intelligent when it comes to that stuff.
No.
So
Let's,
great. New Zealand's getting gun prohibitions.
Yep.
Provisional
So if you're a
orders.
criminal, or if you're suspected of being a criminal, or if the police or a judge give you a firearms prohibition orders, it's double illegal to be around guns in New Zealand. Clearly, this will end gun crime.
Clearly.
On to the second and final New Zealand article. This is on the CBC. New Zealand gun owners return over 50,000 weapons as part of buyback program. That's a third. They estimate that as being a third. So 66% of New Zealand gun owners are not cucks.
Yeah.
I heard the estimations are all over the place though with that.
My guess is that's probably not even a third.
I don't think it's a third either. This is like the 200,000 whatever guns that they know about, 170,000 guns that they know about. This is not all the guns. This is like the 170,000 guns that they think meet the criteria of being modern military style assault weapons or whatever the specific name of their bullshit law is.
Yeah, but how do they know what that's going to be until they fucking give us a list of what that's going to be so that like third-party sources can verify that?
In New Zealand, I mean the list of guns.
Here,
I was gonna say the list,
yeah,
they've got the list of guns. It's all of them. If it's a gun in New Zealand, it's on the list.
Well, no,
Yeah,
apparently
weird.
not, because they kept updating the list. Apparently, like I was watching an interview from somewhere, I forget where, but it was like they came out with a list and then they revised the list and added more guns.
it's probably because they've
Excuse
been
me.
slowly getting people's like import lists from from distributors and stuff. And
That's
then like to make it official, like they can't just go all guns because it's like some lawyer there is like, no, we need to be specific. We need every make and model of everything that you want to ban. So like it's probably got to have like every single friggin' thing that has been imported into the country, because otherwise you're going to have some guy that's got some weird obscure thing like a Kui from 100 years ago that's not on the list because nobody thought anyone still had one. He says, well, this isn't on the list, so I can have this.
right. So apparently, I forget where, but what they did was they interviewed a pro gun org, and then they interviewed a police commissioner. And the police commissioner was saying, "Oh yeah, well we only updated the list once because people were coming in with guns that we didn't have on the list, and we added them onto the list afterwards." And I'm like, "Well, those guys were idiots for showing up, but whatever." But yeah, no, the estimations are way off, and it seems like people are dumb enough to show up and say, "Here are my guns. Pay me for them." With quick math, it looks like they spent about approximately $17,000 a gun Canadian. From this, based on what this article is,
the same.
Which isn't great for you guys. For me, that's great, but for you guys, probably not so much.
Honestly, it depends on the gun, and it's kind of variable. And this is like,
Yeah,
I don't
on a
want
Turkish
to sell
shotgun.
the-
I'd be happy to get 1,700 for.
That's what
Right.
I'm thinking.
I
I'm
don't
gonna
wanna sell-
make up what I'm missing with my.
Yeah, I don't want to sell the government my $4,000 AR But I have a couple of blocks of wood that I wouldn't mind putting a Schedule 40 pipe on and writing "This is a gun" on the side.
It identifies as a shotgun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, no, I mean, I literally can go into my garage, grab a piece of pipe and a 2x4 and a nail, and make a slam fire shotgun. Like it,
Wow.
Guns
That's
are
totally
not-
worth $1,700.
right? But that's what I mean. Like, if they're going to give me $1,700 for $25 worth of materials and 10 minutes of my time,
Yeah.
I'd be a fool not to.
If someone's gonna pay, was it $27,000 for banana duct tape to a wall that's changed every other day? I can see the government doing that.
As long as they do a gender balanced study, I'm fine with it.
All of my guns are non-binary.
The nice thing is that you see this happening in Quebec now with the registry, and now New Zealand as well. I think the non-compliance seems to be the order of the day, or maybe malicious compliance, like you're hinting at with the
So
Schedule 40 pipe.
I would argue against malicious compliance. I would go with I would advocate, although not actually do myself, non-compliance.
See, on this podcast, we would not encourage anyone to do anything illegal, but in a hypothetical situation,
Yes.
Yeah.
why would that be, Benny?
Because malicious compliance doesn't help, because at the end of the day, what do they say? Oh, just like the long gun registry, it didn't cost us $2 million. It cost us $2 billion. Like, what do they care? It's not their money.
You're right, but also I've
or they
turned
just say,
$25 worth of hardware into a $1,700 shotgun.
Andrew, between you and me, what are you going to spend that on if you don't have any guns?
Let's not talk about that.
Taco Tuesday, clearly.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to find a new hobby, and I can neither afford fast cars nor fast women. So,
But what if you were to play Nintendo with these fast women?
I can work with that.
There you go. Yeah, I mean, I think a combination of, hypothetically speaking, of course,
If you were to be in New Zealand and undergoing
Yeah.
this exact situation,
a combination of non-compliance and malicious compliance is probably the most efficient route.
oh yeah, 100%. I'm not turning in my competition ARs,
Yeah, it's
but I'm
Yeah.
definitely turning in some homemade shotguns.
it's the stuff that you really want. Fuck no. But this like garbage nonsense, like this Turkish shotgun I have just sitting there that's a piece of shit and not working. Oh yeah, I want like every single penny that went into that thing.
I guess
back.
Pennies.
I guess
Yeah.
the RCMP can find all those 80% lowers that they don't know where they are in the country.
Yeah, I have a couple of
aluminum.
I have a couple of forgings. Those are worth money. I'm turning that in.
Well, technically, the 0% lower, that's just a rectangle of aluminum. That's technically a firearm, right? I mean, it's
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying, yeah.
nothing else it can be, right? So if you just make out some blocks of aluminum, you could probably make out well.
Yeah,
I have been saving my tinfoil, so homemade
Nice.
homemade forge.
Yeah.
It really depends on if you're a skilled machinist or not, Ian.
I heard
Heard
they
it
need,
earlier in
Block
the
of
episode.
wood.
Yeah.
I mean, block of
I heard
aluminum. I don't need it.
they're
Doesn't need
neat.
much more than that.
it sounds like they need one in Winnipeg. So
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah,
Sorry,
you,
Kiwis, you guys are boned.
yeah,
Get a new
But-
PM.
but proud of you for your non-compliance, allegedly.
I wonder
Allegedly.
how many of those turn-ins are private versus public. Like with the Quebec registry, how many? Like they said, it basically accounts for all the retailers, and that the private
Yeah,
individuals didn't actually.
like yeah, it's
register.
everybody that had to because it was very obvious that they had these things. Yeah, like retailers or like very prominent politicians or people with like cops or something like that that had these things that can't be caught with them because it would affect their career drastically. Probably are the only people that turned anything in, whereas like the average person was like, fuck that. You know, like, you don't know that I have it, I ain't turning shit in. Much like Quebec. You know?
Yeah.
Shall we move on to some rapid fire feedback?
Absolutely.
All right. From Todd. I think Todd's actually listening live.
Hi, Todd.
Subject: guns for gangbangers. Guys, you were touching on some good ideas for stemming Toronto violence. I suggest they open areas similar to dog parks, but instead have them as free fire zones where these assholes can have at it.
Good backstop.
They can go into
Yeah,
Yeah,
use
but-
that rubber stuff that like Urban Tactical has with like
360 range.
Yeah.
360 range.
Yeah.
They can go into these zones knowing they can solve their issues with no fear of legal issues. We can make it gangbanger friendly with rap music, free parking for all their black Mercedes and Popeyes right around the corner.
Yeah.
We will see a gradual reduction in violence and welfare claims, although we may see a reduction in the sales of spinner rims.
Yeah, but I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
I'm sure there'll be some other nonsense vehicle fad that comes out that'll take its place.
So I want to thank Todd for sending that feedback. And I'm on board with the gangbanger free fire zone.
Yeah. Like there's a bunch of empty warehousing and stuff like that you could easily put that in. You could even charge them a fee to go use it to shoot somebody legally and make money at it.
I was gonna say, I feel like this is like, what's it, Death Race or
The
Purge.
one of those
The Purge.
movies? Yeah, well, not The Purge, because like someone's gonna monetize this. Put a bunch of cameras in the room. People
Oh no!
will watch anything.
If you watch the TV show The Purge, they've certainly monetized it.
Or you can make it like the Running Man. Just same idea. You start off at two ends of a maze. They
Or what
kind
was
of find each other.
Yeah. Or what was that terrible video game back in the day, Smash TV or something like that? Be good times.
Yeah.
Yeah. You charge people to do it and charge people to watch it on TV. It would make a shit ton of money and get gangbangers off the streets. It's win-win, really. I mean,
Well, how much
Yeah,
does a range cost? $3 million, and you just got to add a roof to it. It's much cheaper than 600 million.
Yeah.
Although I guess you have to put a bunch of them all over the country.
No,
people would probably drive
Toronto, Ottawa, Montreal,
Vancouver, yeah,
Right.
Yeah,
but you have-
Winnipeg.
I was gonna say, but then you have all those odd places in like middle of Canada that have really high crime.
Yeah, but that's all like guys just getting shit-faced and punching each other up and stuff like that. Like it's violent crime, but it's like violent petty crime. It's not like gangbangers shooting one another.
Okay.
I didn't grow up in that generation, but do you remember there was apparently a time in this country where you could punch somebody if they were talking shit to you in a bar?
Yeah,
That was just the end of it. You would just beat the shit out of them, and that was the end of it.
That was
Yeah,
called
I
Tuesday
kind of-
where I grew up.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of bounced while that was still a thing that was going on.
Yeah.
Back
Can we
when you
bring
didn't,
that back?
you
I'd be
didn't
okay
need a
with that.
security license. Yeah, like you didn't have to worry about getting knifed or now shot. If you had beef with another person, you settled it in fisticuffs, and it was you versus the person, not you versus their 12 friends.
A lot less people would talk shit if you just punched them in the face when they started.
Yeah, I mean, what's that quote by the dude that wrote Conan?
It's not a tumor.
No, not the guy that played Conan.
Oh,
The guy that wrote it, where it's like civilized
my
people
mistake.
are
An armed society is a polite society.
well, yeah, it amounts to that basically, where it's like
Oh,
yeah.
you're talking about like the violence being golden thing?
No, not that dude, the other dude, but it's the same kind of a thing where it's like civilized people can be rude to one another because they're not worried about getting their head caved in. Whereas primitive people kind of were a little bit more polite because they were actually worried that someone may cave their head in.
This would actually solve CBC's problem of not being able to get enough revenue to turn a profit. So if they actually monetize this on TV, that would also solve the deficit. They would need their
That's what I'm
600 million,
saying.
right?
People would pay to pay-per-view on CBC, and we even have our first sponsor.
People
Sites
may
per
actually
night.
watch the CBC. Yeah,
That's right.
Yeah.
The viewership would go way up. The deficit would disappear. The ad revenue would go huge.
The degenerate YouTube feedback. I'm gonna totally mess this poor dude's name up. Bane Ironhand
Yeah, I think that's it.
says it was Heinlein.
That makes sense.
I don't think Heinlein wrote Conan the Barbarian, but
No,
I
no,
do
no.
like Heinlein's books.
Yeah.
Yes, and I mean it's the same kind of thing, but I can. I'm gonna try and pull it. I'm gonna try and do some interning here.
Okay, well you do some intern. I'm gonna start on the outro. We're gonna end on Gavin. We're gonna start with Benny and go counterclockwise. Benny, where can I find
Here
you
we
on the
go.
internet?
I found it, so we're good. Carry on, Benny. Carry on.
Benny's lips are moving, but there is no sound coming out.
Sorry, the little one screaming in the background. Benny at I did it anyways. BennyLewis.ca, where you can find your speed loaders and Pew Pew Jew books.
Quite good.
They are quite good.
And they make great Hanukkah presents for
They
anyone that's
do.
listening.
They do. Yeah, you got another 6 days out there, guys. So get your orders in.
Right. Ian, where can everybody find you on the internet?
You can reach me at theislandretreat@gmail.com. And you can also find me on the Canadian Prepper podcast. We are now doing our episodes on Sunday nights.
I'm telling you, the Monday night time slot is kosher.
Yeah.
It is.
Well, every day but Saturday is, or I guess Friday. Somewhere between Friday and Saturday, I guess, technically.
And
Now
holidays.
we're not getting a rabbinical ruling on that? Okay.
I just
Gavin?
play one at work.
All right. So you can find me on the Instagrams at urbex_GTA, or coming up in Vegas at For Shot Show. I'll be there with my lovely girlfriend, Angela, also known as the Baby Goes Pew Pew. So you can see her on the Instagrams as well. And I've got the quote for you here. It's by Robert E. Howard, who was the creator of Conan. And the quote is, "Civilized men are more discourteous than savages because they know they can be impolite without having their skulls split."
Doesn't
That's
roll
not
off
wrong.
the tongue.
No, but when you're a wordsmith that writes the awesomeness that is Conan,
Yeah.
like what is best in life,
Hear the lamentations of the.
you
Yeah.
don't need to be writing things that roll off the tongue well. But I mean, it all amounts to the same thing. Like being civilized has, knocked out the violence per se, but then that means people are just being a-holes because they're not worried about getting smacked in the mouth. Maybe more people should get smacked in the mouth and then they'll behave better.
It would be less discourteous.
Yeah, exactly.
As always, I've been Andrew. You can find me at ragnaroktactical.ca. It's currently Yule. Happy Yule to Pagan Gang. It's like Hanukkah, but different.
More like
It's 12
Christmas,
days.
but the same.
Is there 12 days in Hanukkah? I feel like that's the right number of days.
8.
Yeah.
There's 8 days in Hanukkah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
All right. The pagans have 25% more holiday.
Yeah.
This time. This time.
Yeah. So, Yule sale runs from the solstice through 12 days after the solstice. Solstice was on the 21st. So, happy Yule to everybody else in Pagan Gang. If you're not in Pagan Gang, the discount code Yule still applies at checkout. Black Bear cases, if we still have cases, because I've sold most of them out. Sorry, and I know you tried to buy one. Black Bear stuff, can't advertise. Put it in the cart, try to buy it, see how good the discount is.
Yeah.
If there's any left. There's not
For
very much
realsies.
left.
Yeah. Same applies to some of the other stuff too. Can't tell you what you're getting off, but
Well, for most of the stuff, use the discount code Yule, YULE.
Yeah.
And for today, when you hear this, Tuesday, use the discount code Taco Tuesday, all one word, and you will get a good deal on high-speed gear tacos.
Oh, the Albertan likes to celebrate Saturnalia, which is the same as winter solstice, which is my preferred holiday as well. So, yeah, happy Saturnalia.
Yes. Happy Saturnalia. That's almost like being part of Pagan Gang.
well,
Almost.
yeah. 12 days.
12 days. I mean, come on. Our thing starts with the Mother's Night, and the second thing is the Wild Hunt. It's hard to top.
Yeah. The Wild Hunt is pretty crazy too.
The Wild Hunt is super ridiculous.
We have donuts and chocolate coins. Okay.
So
But-
that reminds me, how were your latkes?
I didn't make latkes. I made deep fried mac and cheese actually tonight. It was really good.
Well, there you go. Excellent. Good job.
Yep.
All right, let's I guess we're gonna leave it there. I got nothing to go with latkes. I'm sorry, man. Or deep fried mac and
Applesauce,
cheese.
sour cream. Let's traditionally go with latkes.
Yeah.
Patriotism. We're gonna go with that.
Hey,
that works.
For all of
Maple
our,
syrup could work too.
Ooh,
I'd have
yeah.
a maple syrup vodka.
Yeah.
I'll have to try. I'll have to see what I can pull up.
Yeah. Oh man.
For all of our listeners out there in podcast land, I'd like to remind you that you are the true North, strong and free.